Welcome back to the 2 Minute Morning. Today I'm looking at the Los Angeles Chargers and determining whether or not they should bring back their defensive end, Melvin Ingram, after becoming a free agent currently. But before getting to that topic, question for those of you viewing about Melvin Ingram and his former but possible current teammate, Joey Bosa. Two great defensive ends for the Chargers. If those two were to fight, who do you have winning that brawl? Comment down below. But in all seriousness and getting to this topic, Melvin Ingram is coming off a injury season. He was hurt most of the year, played about 7 games, but didn't put up any relative numbers. He's just banged up, and now he is over 30 years old. So it is not a good season for him to come off of if he was looking to leave the Chargers and chase a big paycheck. That is not it for him. Melvin Ingram used to be worth a big paycheck. At one point in time, the Los Angeles Chargers signed him to, I believe, a 4-year, $64 million deal, giving him about $16 million a year, and that was worth it at the time when he's putting up 7, 8, 10.5 sacks a year. That is 100% worth $16 million a year, especially when you got a guy that's getting double teamed. But now, being injured and being an older guy in the league, that is nowhere near the money he's going to make. So my answer is going to be, what can the Chargers get him for? And that will be my final answer of whether or not they should bring him back. Can they get him down, $6 million or less a year? That is 100% worth it, because he's not going to get you 10.5 sacks a game. He might not even get you 8 or 7. But Joey Bosa needs help, and if Joey Bosa's on that team, he's going to get double teamed. And Melvin Ingram is going to more likely than not have a one-on-one matchup that can bring those sack numbers back. So I am fond of that idea if the price is right. But we will have to see. You got Jerry Tillery on the other side of Joey Bosa on that defensive line, who's very young but hasn't put up a lot of numbers. I believe he has 5 sacks total, and he's only played 2 years, so 2.5 sacks a year isn't great. But getting a brand new head coach such as Brandon Staley might look at Jerry Tillery and think, I could take this guy from 3 sacks and 2 sacks a year to 7, 8, 9, 10, and we don't need Melvin Ingram. Or Brandon Staley might be like, look, I'm a defensive-minded coach. Let's get them both. I could teach them both. I could coach them both. And then we can have one of the best pass rushers in the NFL. A lot of it will determine Brandon Staley's insight. Of course, Tom Telesco, the GM, will probably have the final say. But I do think Brandon Staley's defensive mind being present on that team will have a huge factor. I'm very fond of bringing back Melvin Ingram. He knows the system. He likes LA. He knows Joey Bosa. That defensive line likes having Ingram there. It will be a question mark. Does he want to come back and play for a coach he's never had in Brandon Staley? Ingram, we don't know. Maybe he was fond of Anthony Lynn and wanted to play for him, and now he wants nothing to do with the Chargers now that he's gone. We don't know for sure, but if he's open to coming back and I'm the LA Chargers, I'm 100% considering it for a value price. To me, anything under $6 million a year is worth it. 4 to 5 would be the better range I would be aiming for, but a 1-year, $6 million deal isn't much to gamble. Saying the Chargers have the cap space to go out and take, I don't even say he's a huge risk. You know what you're getting. And like I said, Joey Bosa is the main guy on that pass rush. Melvin Ingram isn't going to have to do what he used to and deal with double teams and try and get 10 sacks a year. We're just looking at a guy that could create pressure and create a production on that defensive line, and Joey Bosa is not alone. Like I said, if Brandon Staley develops a 24-year-old Jerry Tillery, you get a Melvin Ingram that can teach Tillery, and you have Joey Bosa, who we know how great he is. This is looking like a pass rush that has Joey Bosa alone to one of the better ones in the league. So I am very fond of the idea, but that does not mean I'm set in stone on it. There's other options out there. At 13th overall, I assume the Chargers are more likely than not looking at offensive line or a top secondary player. But at 13 overall, you more likely than not could have the number 1 pick at the pass rushing position of Kwity Paye or Jalen Phillips or Gregory Rousseau. So if they wanted to go that route instead of going for Melvin Ingram, that is a acceptable route as well. But to me, I think you should go secondary in the draft or offensive line and get Melvin Ingram back on a good value deal. Or they could explore free agency. There's a lot of options here. It's not just Melvin Ingram or draft to replace him. You can replace him through free agency. There's Jadeveon Clowney. He's in a similar spot to Melvin Ingram to where he gets hurt a decent amount. Like I said, Melvin Ingram's 90% of the time not hurt. Is just as bad year. But Jadeveon Clowney, he's coming off an injury this past year and seems to always be hurt. However, he has the youth edge over Melvin Ingram. Like I said, Melvin Ingram's over his 30s. Jadeveon Clowney's under his 30s. That's a big difference in the NFL when you're a defensive end. If you're hungry or not, that's really when you're a 20-year-old, you're hungry to get those sacks. When you're a veteran, you still want to play and win, but that dog mentality is just not there as much anymore. Or there's another option in Justin Houston. He's healthy, but he's well over 30, so no answer is really perfect for the Chargers at replacing Melvin Ingram. Justin Houston, he's older, but he's not really hurt a lot of the times. Jadeveon Clowney, he's get hurts a lot. However, he's young. And Melvin Ingram, kind of in the middle. However, Melvin Ingram would be my favorite just because of how much he already knows the system. He's familiar with this team. And LA, I think, would be very welcome to bring him back. I don't see the Chargers, if they do re-sign him, re-signing to a long-term deal. I'd see 2-3 years tops. Like I said, he's up there in age. I wouldn't be surprised, maybe $15 million, 3 years, $5 million a year. That's reasonable, I guess, but I see them being a 1-year deal, kind of a prove-it deal. We see that a lot in the NFL. Juju Smith, he's on a prove-it-year deal. I assume Jadeveon Clowney is going to be on a prove-it-year deal himself. It's just what's happening right now on these guys who are up there in age and coming off of injuries. Malcolm Butler, he's on a 1-year deal with the Cardinals. AJ Green, he's on a 1-year deal with the Cardinals. Melvin Ingram's going to be down that path as well, where we just have to see, can he prove to be the same guy he used to be? Or the Cardinals, if the Chargers want to go that route and have him prove it, it could backfire. Maybe you sign him for $5 million and he goes out there and gets you 10 sacks, and now he's going to want 10 the following year. Or so now it kind of backfires because you didn't get a long-term deal at a set number, or it was the perfect route, $5 million a year, and that is exactly what he's worth. We will just have to see. But my final answer is definitely going to be bring him back on a value perspective if it's $6 million or under. Now, if he says 7, it's going to be close. With the Chargers, you need to help out Joey Bosa. Figure it out one way or another, even if it's not Melvin Ingram. Make sure the dude is not alone. Even the secondary, Derwin James is starting to get to the point where he's alone. Yeah, there's Michael Davis, but he can't be your number 1 corner. And Chris Harris Jr., he's good, but he's getting up there in age himself. The Chargers need to help out these guys on defense, and Joey Bosa needs it the most desperately, in my opinion. So Melvin Ingram, I'm bringing him back if I'm the Chargers, if it's at the right price. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you want to see them re-sign him? Do you want to see them draft the guys such as Kwity Paye, Jalen Phillips, Gregory Rousseau, or replace them with a Jadeveon Clowney? A lot of risky plays out there, and there's a lot of safe plays. It's just up to the Chargers what route they want to go. Like I said, comment down below, and of course comment who wins that fight, Joey Bosa or Melvin Ingram. I'm going to definitely have to go with Bosa. He's younger, he's bigger, he's stronger. Definitely just going to go with Bosa there on an easy pick, in my opinion. Thanks for watching, guys. 2-1.